Welcome to a casted game of Age of Mythology Retold. We are here on the beta weekend. That's why you see this flying around. Just played the game for the first time today. We've been getting a look at all these civilizations and having a whole lot of fun. I hope you've checked out some of my other casted games on the channel. I had a celebrity cast with Ozzy Drongo for my first one. Had a fun team game, some 1v1s, a lot of good stuff. So check it out on the channel and hit subscribe if you like it. But let's get into this. We've got Jan Racing Cat. It's a name you should recognize if you've watched the Age of Empires scene. He is a legacy AoM player, competing at the highest levels. Also, you've seen him on the AoE4 scene most recently, where I come from. And he is playing Odin today. So we're going to be keeping an eye to see what he is doing with Odin. And this is a ranked 1v1 out on the ladder up against Rewa. And Rewa is playing Hades. Now, I'm not very familiar with this player, but I'm sure if both of these guys have been grinding ranked, which maybe they have been, probably similar. So we will see. We will see. So we got Hades coming out of the Greek Pantheon and going for the deer there and the gold in the wood to age up. You got to be able to build a temple. Oh, we got a stuck villager. You hate to see it. He just figured it out, but happens to the best of us. And I'll tell you what, don't build your storehouse this close to the gold. You're asking for their toe to get stuck underneath that log pile. It's not going to go well. But I've seen a lot of players playing Odin, and I really want to know what makes them tick. So with the Norse, it's a little bit of a challenging macro decision in the beginnings of the games, especially because you have two different types of villagers. You've got your gatherers, and then you have dwarves, which is a little weird. So gatherer is your traditional villager that you might know. Costs food, of course. But then dwarves, they are good at mining gold specifically and weak at gathering food and gold. So they cost gold to train, which is the other thing. But so you kind of want to have dwarves mainly getting gold. So it's kind of a mix of when do you work in food, when you work in gold into your settlers. You, of course, want to try to get some of those dwarves out. And then you've got to save, of course, your wood and gold to get your first temple down so you can age up. So it's definitely a challenging one, but I kind of enjoy it. There's a lot of different ways to play it. I was talking to the Mista about what's the standard, openings for Norse? And really the answers I got was a lot of players do it differently. So there's a few around there, and I'm going to be breaking down and finding my favorite ones and bringing them to you once I've distilled it. But I think Loki is my favorite out of the Norse so far. But there you go. Odin gets you two ravens to scout once you build your temple, which, that's a very good perk. You can go out and see, where are you gathering food from. Intel can be really, really strong, of course, in any RTS. So a very important thing. So he's going to be aging up, and he's aging up with Freya. So Freya is going to give access to, access to the Valkyrie god, a myth unit. So we see the myth unit coming on out. Also gets the forest fire god power. And speaking of god powers, in Retold, god powers are reusable. You spend favor to use them after you've used them the first time for free. So you can see, he could reuse Great Hunt for 25 more favor if he wanted, etc. Okay, meanwhile, on the other side, Rewa, what's he aging up with? Ares. Okay, so that is going to be giving him the Cyclops when he gets up to the next age. So Cyclops, very good siege myth unit. It can pick up and throw villagers around. I noticed the trees really have these exposed roots on a lot of these maps. You can see the tree's really good, very beautiful. Now I am playing this on high settings. There's a mythic setting that's technically one notch above this, but for performance reasons, I wanted to make sure everything's smooth, and boy, it does look good to me. Let me know what you think. It's my first time streaming and playing and recording this, so everything's feeling really smooth to me. So over here, Jan Racing Cat opening up with a little bit of aggression. You see he's got his Berserk, which he's started with, and he's out here just kind of working on the granary and starting to harass some villagers, push them off food, try to delay the food that Rewa is able to gather. And let's see what he follows this up with. Now I just changed perspective, a little bit of lag there, but I think that's a little bit has to do with the playback. It'll catch right back up. So we see that Valkyrie coming over. That's from the age up, and you also have a Hersir, which is the hero for the Norse, and he's gonna be going in here. And of course, you'll see his favor start to grow as he battles. So that's how the Norse get favor, is through fighting. So you see his favor going up. The Valkyrie, very good at doing raids like this, but here comes Ajax. This is the Greek hero and excellent at taking out myth units. You don't want to stay around when there's a Greek hero around. There's a special ability, Cyclops, yeeting that Berserker away. It still survived to live another day. Now, one really cool thing about Retold that I really like is for the Greek, you only have a few heroes you get, right? You got a lock set of a few heroes. In this case, you've got Achilles, you've got Ajax, and that's it. And you can't train that. You can train them at your fortress, but you don't have your fortress early on. So you're kind of left to train them at your town center. And you used to have to think about like, okay, I've got to drop training a villager to train one of these heroes. Well, now you can train them simultaneously. So you can have a villager training and Achilles training at the exact same time in your town center. In fact, you could have Achilles, Ajax, and a villager all training at the same time. It'll make multiple heroes at the same time, which is really, really cool. But the Greek heroes are not to be trifled with. They're very, very strong. Achilles, of course, with some nice mobility. You can see here, he hasn't even trained anything out of his barracks or his archer range yet, and he's able to hold off that push pretty easy with his free unit plus his oh, he picks that horse up. Oh man, yeet. He survives though. I'm not sure, like, let's see, does it say how much that does, his special attack does? Let's see if it says here. I'm not sure if it says exactly how much damage it does. Some of that stuff is a little obscure and sometimes even hard to find out when you can find it in the UI, just with the way they've displayed some of this information. Okay, now Nyan doing some raiding with the Cav. He's got his ravens kind of keeping an eye on what's going on the battlefield. Back at home, he's got a longhouse going down. So a brand new building for the Norse. We've got the Great Hall. The Great Hall, you can train your heroes, you can train cavalry. Whereas in the longhouse, that's going to be where you're getting your infantry, your throwing axemen, etc. Before, it used to be everything out of the longhouse. So it's a little bit different in Retold, and a nice variance. Here comes the Greek army, and see if they're looking to go for a fight. A lot of Hussars, though, around. I'm not sure he should take this battle. Yeah, he's probably going to lose Ajax. Ajax is going to be going down. He's very low HP. The Cyclops gets a hold of raiding Cav, but he lives, and the Hussars, of course, heroes, you can see, doing so much damage to that Cyclops. And there you go. The Greeks now on the retreat. Nyan Racing Cat getting a lot of favor out of this as well if you wanted to train some myth units. Now, one of my favorite things about the Norse in Age of Mythology Retold is you can build your ox carts with your villagers, so you no longer have to train them at the town center, which I think is a very nice change. So you don't have to worry about dropping vills to get your cart, or if you lose it out in the field, you can just build another one, which is quite nice. Okay, so he's pushing villagers off of food, so idled food, not going to be good. When you look at this, his food is quite low to start with. Let's make sure he's not aging up or something. Let's just check. Okay, no, he's training army, training villagers. Both players on 1 TC. And he's basically, I mean, Age of Mythology, this is how a lot of these games go. Your first objective, if you want to play aggressive, is just harass the food, because they're going to run out of their food. At least they're like hunts in base pretty quickly. You can go to the pigs, you can go to the berries, but it's a lower gather rate. You can actually see them in the UI. If we look here, 0.8 per second there on the berry. If you look at the pig, that's going to be 0.9. Does he have anyone actually hunting? Not at the moment, but I mean, we look over here, you can see 1.08 on the hunt. You want to be ideally hunting to get your maximum food income. So for that reason, you see him out on the map. You can scout where's that next hunt and then start apply pressure, which is exactly what Nyan Racing Cat's done. Now, Rera is held well under this pressure. Some raiding cavalry. You're probably going to see him keep poking in and out there. Let's take a look at Rera's line of sight. So he's kind of trying to figure out where that cav is running around. And you see these shades. This is a unique perk of Hades. As troops die, they can come back as shades. He's kind of like throwaway units, but a nice little meat shield, a little something to throw in your army. And catches a few throwing axemen building a longhouse. Or an armory, excuse me. Now, that could indicate that Nyan Racing Cat's considering aging up. Let's see, looking at his resource, doesn't really look like he's trying to age up, so he's probably just going for the upgrades, which is, of course, what you'd use the armory for. You have to have either an armory or a market to age up to the next age. Okay, so right now, we can see he's got the archers on the run, and he's going to be taking some of those out. Okay, let's reveal the map, see what's going on here. Now, the zoom level, you can zoom really far up, which I love for the caster mode. But I will say, if you are playing, you probably don't want to play at this height. It's very hard to see the clarity. It's hard to micro the detail you're going to need. I recommend using the different zoom levels, really, on your mouse wheel. You don't really need to zoom in this far, but look how nice that looks. Really does look nice. They did a good job with the style of this. Oh my gosh. Looks very nice. Look at that Hades army. That's like thumbnail quality right there. Okay, down on the south side, we've got more military buildings, longhouses, great halls, another longhouse. So it appears he's staying in the second age, but Hades looking to slip up to the heroic age. You actually see him adding a few little defensive wall segments in. He's not training as much right now, not training as many military buildings, but that could backfire. If suddenly he gets hit with a bunch of raiding cav. Norse Cat certainly has mobility, so these walls are a very smart idea to kind of cut that off if he can finish those before they get there. Could go for some hits on that, but he doesn't decide to stop. Okay. So we've got additional military academies coming down. Maybe he's having second thoughts about that age up he was considering. I don't think he queued it up. Nope. Yeah, he's seen a lot of army. You know, he's actually able to mess with the pathing of this raiding cav, and they take a lot of damage. I mean, he might have actually just thrown that down just to mess with the raiding cav running in. That might have been literally his intention. But now you can see he is about to click up. We'll see what he ages up with. Now, in Age of Mythology, when you age up, you pick a minor god to choose from. So there's 2 with each age, and they've got different perks, different myth units, different upgrades, different, different god power you're going to unlock. So he is choosing to go with Apollo, the god of the sun and music, my favorite. His improvements target ranged soldiers and vision. Now, their myth unit's the Manticore, which is this little dragon lizard-looking unit that shoots spikes out of its tail, and its special attack does area damage. It's kind of like a mangonel almost. It's very, very good. And then, of course, a slew of upgrades for archers. Oracle allows for healing near the temple. You see the Valkyrie here actually dishing out some healing. So here we go. Right now, we've got a little bit of engagement. Now, I would say Roa is maybe breaking the cardinal rule of Age of Empires. And what is the cardinal rule of Age of Empires? When you're aging up, do not attack. Stay in your base. Because he's about to be up, he's about to get all these upgrades, but instead of waiting 30 more seconds for his new myth unit, for his upgrades, what's happening? His entire army is getting destroyed out in the field. So this is a huge misplay by Roa, and really gives a good deal of momentum to Jan Racing Cat, because he could have upgraded this stuff in his base. The Manticore could have been in this fight. So now this is going to be a very, very bad situation. Okay, so his units are now dead. And now his raiding cav coming in. Not much to stop it. The Manticore, let's see if you can see some of these special attacks come on out there. He probably wants to target the back line with that if he can. Valkyrie's in there doing damage. There you go. You can see a little bit of the spines going out. I don't know if that was a special attack. You can't exactly see when they cue it, but that Manticore goes down. My cat's trying to eat the leftover of my pizza plate that's sitting next door. Sitting next to me. Silly cat. Okay, so Jan Racing Cat with a lot of raiding cav. How is this going to be answered? He has a lot of res in the bank, but just struggling to spend it. A lot of food. Maybe he could consider a market to rebalance his economy. And Jan Racing Cat, by the way, also used that the forest fire there in the middle of all that, if you guys didn't see that. Okay, so pushing under the town center, going to be taking shots from the town center. He's kind of deciding to go for this in. We'll see if it's worth it. I would say he's taking a lot of damage. We've got 1, 2, 3 sentinels nearby. You've got the town center. So, I don't know. Was that worth it? He took a lot of damage. A significant number of villagers have died just thanks to his continuous raiding efforts. And I think Jan Racing Cat's going to be in a good spot for it. Not to mention, he's adding in a second settlement. Going to be in a very comfy situation. But the Greeks, they've held on for now. We'll see how he recovers. He may need to consider adding a town center, but he's kind of cornered right now. Not sure how that's going to go. Okay, throwing axeman, taking some shots at that granary, but going to be backed up for now. And look at the production, just like not really stopping here on Jan Racing Cat's front. He hits the next age. He has access to frost to freeze his opponent. He gets a frost giant. There he is, coming on out. It has a special freeze attack, which just turns someone into a block of ice. We got the raiding cav up at the top. Going after a house, actually, not going after the wood wall. I really like how Rawa built his base. Very defensive here with the houses connected to the wall. It's not just a wall. That's going to be a difference you're going to see if you're coming from like the Age of Empires community. Oh, that was the area attack, if you guys just saw that. All those took a little bit of damage. But the area attack really gets meaningful is when, you know, if you have several of these. Now, they're very expensive. These are expensive units. They cost, what, 250 wood? 300 wood and 25 favor. That's an expensive unit. But here we go. Remember, freeze is available. He's only got this little army. Look at the army count. 30 versus 94. His army is 1/3 the size. We got a hill fort coming down for the Norse. The Norse, of course, they build all their buildings with their infantry, not with the villagers. You can build houses with villagers, but everything else is going to be with your infantry. You got a forward hill fort, securing some ground here. At the hill fort, I don't know if it'll show you on the UI. It does not, but you can train the portable rams, which are a very good siege unit. Not sure if he needs one right now, but he could get some portable rams. He can also train the Huskarl, which is a infantry unit that specifically counters archers. Very special, pretty much only against archers. Okay, so Rawa just trying to get some gold. He's been in the corner, and look at this. Like, he has no gold back here. He doesn't have any safe resources. He needs to secure this. He can't really afford to lose this. Maybe he could consider dropping a fortress of his own, but man, I don't know. It's looking like this Norse army is about ready to put the death blow in. Not to mention he's got his second TC online. His eco lead just really starting to grow. And look at this beautiful army. He's got what in here? He's got frost giants. He's got a little bit of everything. Look at that army. Beautiful. Try to get some good pictures for our thumbnails as always. Let's get back to the action. Okay. Fortress coming on in. Oh, he uses freeze. There it is. Oh man, the frost freezing all of these units, stopping that fortress to point line. Now the frost does give them extra armor, as you can see. They're very beefy because they're frozen in an ice block. But he takes out that fortress, completely incapacitates like 10 villagers. Whole army taking damage, and that's not going to be. He can't come back from that. Jan Razorcat's going to take the victory. A dominant performance here with Odin. I think highlights of the game. Starting off, he went immediately for some raids with his raiding cav on the enemy food. Pushed him off food. Kind of made him hungry. Starved him as much as he could. Kept kiting back. Took a good fight in his base with those hussars that were kind of set up with a few units at home after the enemy kind of was baited out across the map. And then he just took his momentum and went with it. Just kind of kept pressure the whole time. Just kind of trying to keep him pinned in his base. And then waiting for that opportune moment for Rawad to just kind of step outside when he probably shouldn't have. I hope you guys enjoyed this casted game of Age of Mythology Retold. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, and I hope you subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.